So with the topic being flies, here's Murph, and he's got too many flies on him. It's not glamorous. It's not comfortable. I thought he was gonna kiss me. And like I've said before, definitely makes you wonder. But to be fair, there's a lot of there's a lot of processes, you know, that don't have chemicals that I need to try, and actually have a line on something my friend Steve is producing, and we're gonna get that and sprayed on them. But yeah, flies suck, but at the same time, I know I can be judged by it if you can see or hear them in the background. Just being transparent, it's my learning process and my struggle as we work through this time of year. One of the things that'll make you question your methods is seeing the flies. In my case, you know, desired organic methods. Seeing the flies. I'm looking at Stella right now, and the cowbell dinging you hear is, you know, them flinching and kicking at the flies. It really sucks. So I gotta step up my game. Is I have to be actively involved. You know, another thing that we have working is I let a couple chickens roam around and they break up the manure pats, but actually recently I started coming out during the day with a rake and breaking up the manure pats again. So what you want to do is disturb that life cycle of those flies. It sucks to see them. You know, there's about a 45-day window there, July into August, where it's just, it sucks. But it's also reality. There's an argument to be made that, you know, with Poron insecticide on a daily basis, the cow itself would be happier without those flies. And then enter the conversation of what it does to the cow, and especially talking about the dung beetles, all that ground activity in life that's so beneficial to the soil would be dead as well, and you wouldn't get that. So as with everything, there's a trade-off, there's a compromise, and you have to do what's best for you. So we have several of these barrels placed around the sheep and the cows. So there's multiple things in work here. One is the tape, the fly tape, 2 strands of it or 2 bands of it. And that's been roughly a little over a day maybe. And then also these holes, there's 4 of them with these entries. They're basically, we've got dead, like a carcass of I don't know, some dead meat or something in there, something out of the freezer. And as that rots, it attracts flies. Flies enter here. And then we have this screen up here, not screen, but plexiglass. And flies see the daylight and they fly up. And they're trapped in there. There's some water with some dish soap down in the bottom. So as they fall into their, they perish, if you will. So that's another aspect of it. Over here, we've got some free choice minerals, with the most important being this multi-block here. There's selenium in there, but then also garlic salt. Garlic salt is really important when it comes to organic control of flies, because the healthier the cow, and that garlic salt specifically in the cow's system helps keep the flies off. A fresh pat probably in the past. Well, this morning yet, and I am counting quickly at least 12 beetles, dung beetles, which is awesome. And actually even more than that, I think. All those little holes you see are dung beetles working. So there's a couple things they're doing. 2 really important things they're doing. First is taking that poo, those nutrients, down into the soil. But then they're also, when you get enough of them, enough population, they decimate these and basically aerate them so that these damn flies, you know, the eggs they lay, because they're laying thousands of eggs on there, that they don't hatch. So they make it an inhospitable and inhabitable, say that 10 times fast, environment for the fly larvae, maggots, right? Something I forgot to mention, and those experienced people would pick up on it, is these cows, they are rotational grazing, but because of the armyworms and the poor pasture that has not yet been replanted, there's not enough hay. So if they're out in the pasture, moving them more frequently, maybe they'd be less susceptible to flies, because they're coming back to a semi-permanent, permanent environment here where the water's at, and so there's more flies. So that's another key in fly control, is moving your animals, thinking about, you know, where you're moving them, when they're moving them, and what time you're moving them when it comes to fly fly control. So right now we're also feeling heavy fly pressure because of the issue with I don't have the good pasture. I don't have enough pasture, so I'm feeding them bales up here. And maybe the answer needs to be feeding bales in the pasture along with the grass there and keeping them moving away from the flies, and then running the chickens behind them. Maybe that's what I need to do. So take two and have a great day.